As increased vaccination efforts take place across the country, COVID cases have been cut in half in the last month nationwide. And as countries that have already defeated the coronavirus, like New Zealand, have had mass gatherings for months, the end of the pandemic and return to normalcy is finally approaching. But since many things like class, shopping, and massive events have all moved online for the past year, the need for massive parking lots has dwindled in that time. But as Cintas gradually fills back up and our classrooms slowly become more packed, as will the parking lots. And so I wondered, exactly how many parking spots are there on Xavier's campus? What's the best way to find this? I walked down to R1 and started counting, but that took too long, and there had to be a better way. As I was pulling up directions on my phone, I remembered the satellite filter on Google Maps. I went over to my computer and loaded up Google Maps. Once I zoomed into Xavier's campus, you could clearly see all the buildings and, thankfully, the parking spaces. Just counting like this, however, still wasn't quick enough, and luckily there was another solution though. Most of the parking lots within one lot are a uniform size on Xavier's campus, and using Google's measure distance tool, I was able to see that the parking spaces in R2 are all 9 feet wide. I took my tape measure down to R2 to confirm the tool's accuracy. I can take the width of one parking space and divide it into the width of the entire row and get a number of parking spaces in the row fairly easily. I tested my theory on the middle row spots in R2, and while the calculations weren't perfect, they were easily rounded to the 108 spots that are in the middle row of R2. And I counted the row to ensure its accuracy, and it was, so I felt confident to move forward with the rest of campus. And problems still arise in places like R3 and behind Gallagher, where spaces are curved and non-uniform, and I had to count these spots by hand, but they were limited to a pretty small amount. And with that, I'm ready to present my final tally. In total, Xavier has 3,166 parking spaces, with 810 of them being designated for commuters, 1,091 of them being designated for employees, and 1,265 of them being designated for residents on campus. This is far more than I expected and far more than we need on campus. A lot of the commuter, employee, and even some residential spots still go unused. But you'll never find me complaining about easy parking.